Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
We're here at Terminal 5, and I found the Bullet Club.
Yeah, you sure did.
Yeah, look,
This is great.
this is amazing.
That was a good broken hand too sweet, man.
The Young Bucks and Adam Cole are here. Adam Cole, you snuck your way into like a second podcast appearance within 6 months.
I did, and I also snuck myself into the Bullet Club, so
Yeah.
it's real sneaky.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he snuck in. He was hand chosen for Matt and I. So, and that's a shoot, brother.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, who makes
went from the hips?
who makes the choice? Obviously, like the Bullet Club is one of the few brands, right, that's extended internationally without a giant, like without WWE behind it. So, who's the one that's making the final choices of who's going to be the guy?
It's sort of a collaboration, I would think. Like, I think all of the members kind of have a choice in it. They have a hand in it. And then, of course, Gato has probably, the number one. Like, he's probably the number one guy. Yeah. And then Hunter Johnson also is another guy that I think we all come together and we decide, who would fit the best. And, of course, whenever you hear from guys like us, like the boys, like we choose who we want. Like Cole should have been in Bullet Club from day one, to be honest with you.
We worked on Adam for about 5 months. It's been in the works for about 5 to 6 months, and it came to fruition at the pay-per-view. So.
Yeah. And it does, because it seems like such a natural fit. I mean, it's kind of an extension of what Rushmore was in PWG.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, I think. And kind of like they had said for like the 5-month period, it's amazing because, I mean, even after talking to you and talking to these guys, I've always wanted to go to New Japan. And I was thinking, when would be the right time? What would be the right moment? So now I get to join the hottest faction in pro wrestling. I'm with my friends, and I'm getting like a great role in New Japan as well as Ring of Honor. So the timing for this, even though it took a little bit, I think worked out perfect.
Do you work? Yeah.
I was just going to say, I mean, we really, honestly, when it came down to it, we just wanted to hang out with him.
Yeah. Right.
He's our buddy.
And, hey, man. There's our New Japan boss. Hey.
The famous Tiger Hattori.
We named a finish after his name. It's called the Tiger Hattori Special, and he's mimicking the low blow that we did on the fly at a pay-per-view 2 weeks ago.
Can I tell a quick story?
Yes, please.
So we were in Japan. What was this? A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Me, Nick, and Kenny were in a trios match, and we had a spot in the match where we were going to go to cold spray someone. We were going to accidentally hit Tiger Hattori, who was our ref, and he's going to sell the eyes like he couldn't see. And as soon as we saw that the ref was taken out of action, we were going to low blow everybody so we could cheat.
Right.
So we go through we hit Michael Elgin with a low blow. We hit Yoshi Tatsu with a low blow. We hit Tanahashi with a low blow. And finally, on the fly, on pay-per-view in front of 7,000 people in Fukuoka, Japan, Nick and I grab Tiger Hattori, who has no idea this is even coming, pick him up. Kenny puts his arm back. We look around. It felt like a minute. It was probably more like 10 seconds.
It was all real.
Yeah. And gives Tiger a shoot low blow in the balls. And Tiger goes, "Why, man? Why? Why?" And me, Nick, and Kenny are like almost in tears.
It was good. It was very funny.
It was Tanahashi's idea. When we were going in the back, Nick brought it up as an idea. And Tanahashi said, "Yes, please. But please, secret."
How much, like, when you go into spots like that, they're like, I mean, they're not necessarily comedy spots, but they're almost bits, right?
Sure.
Like,
sure.
How much of that is on the fly like that?
I think the best ones are on the fly.
Right, when you're just surprising.
And the ones that you think of ahead of time don't like actually
Sometimes
go out the way you plan.
Yeah, they don't register the same way when you in the back it was going to go this way.
Right.
So sometimes you just got to ad-lib it because then you get a more natural.
I feel like the three of us out there, when we don't plan anything, is the best because the chemistry that the three of us have back from the PWG days just was so good that when we do have a chance to just ad-lib, I guess you could say.
React. It's all about reaction. Wrestling, it is a performance art. So it's like, what did that guy just say? Let me react to that. And then when you react to that, they feel like they're part of the show. So then you get a more authentic reaction.
So then do you have to know really well, okay, we want to do this, but we can't do it to that person because that person's not that great at reacting on the fly. Like, we need to know.
And we knew Tiger Hattori would do a great job.
I had a low blow on the fly.
Plus, you had to actually low blow, so it's like, if you don't want to react to it, it's going to hurt.
The best, too, is even when stuff goes wrong, there's comedy that can happen sometimes. Because I think of that one time at PWG where it was me, Kevin Steen, and Drake Younger. And in my brain, I thought it'd be really funny to go tease a dive, put a chair down, and sit in it and flick everybody off. But instead, as I sat in the chair crumbled and broke, and everyone got up and started laughing, and then Drake Younger came flying with a traffic cone. And it was like, that was
a
all
great,
mistake.
yeah, that was a, you don't remember that? That was a great one. I remember that.
Do you worry that you guys are going to, like, run out of buddies to bring into the Bullet Club? It seems like this is the path of the Bullet Club. It's like hot streak taken away. Like, okay, Ferg's gone. Okay, well, we got AJ. Okay, well, now we got AJ and Gallows and Anderson. All right, well, we got.
I honestly feel like that's part of like the process now. Like, you have to go here before you go there almost. Like, that's fine. Like, I think it's cool. I think that it shows like how great of a group Bullet Club really is, and it's like it almost feels like when you come here, you really develop yourself. Like, you develop a personality. Not that like a guy like Adam doesn't already have it, but most guys come here like an AJ Styles, and he showed Nick and I a side we'd never seen. We're like, who is this guy? Right. And that feedback sounds great.
Yeah, no, it's part of the ambiance.
And like Matt was saying,
by the way, the feedback is perfect because now it sounds like the beginning of one of the NWO ads, like the preceding announcement.
I was about to say, everyone thought the Bullet Club was kind of dying. Like once AJ left, Carl left, Gallows left, and Matt and I took offense to that because we've been here since day one, and we're like, oh, you want to ride off the Bullet Club, huh? Well, we got something crazy in mind.
We got something big planned, and that's why we kind of like we're really subtle about Bullet Club. It's more about the elite, the elite, the elite.
Yeah.
And we still love the elite, and the elite's our baby with Kenny. It's like one of my favorite things I've done. But it's also, hey, but Bullet Club's still here, guys, and we got a big surprise. And when Adam came, it's almost like a reboot.
Yeah.
It's like here we are again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's also like this thing where like the Bullet Club has this kind of takeover vibe, and now not only are you spoiling like this Ring of Honor show, but you're potentially spoiling this thing where WWE was like, all right, we have the club, and you're like, you don't have it yet, because now we're changing what this cool thing is.
Oh, geez.
That was WWE coming in with Michael Jackson. Do you have? I mean, so. Do you have a Rolodex in your brain? Like, what if the unforeseen happens? Like, if Adam Cole all of a sudden disappears? Like, you know, okay, well, our backup is there. You do.
No, it's really pretty much on the fly.
It is.
Yeah, like, because it's happened so much, like, for instance, like you were saying earlier, Ferg left.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Well, we got AJ. Like, it just happens organically, I guess you could say.
And we know that, like, the Super Kick Party brand, the Young Bucks brand, we're always going to be fine.
Right.
Like, Bullet Club kind of just increases our stock. Yeah. We're made at this point, I think. Yeah. Like, not to put myself over, like,
but you just did.
That's not that I just didn't.
Yeah, that's not the Buck style though, to put themselves over. Like, you don't want to.
No, but I was just going to say the same thing because a big compliment to the Bullet Club, not only staying relevant but getting hotter than ever every time, is because of the Young Bucks, and that's not just because we're sitting next to each other and we're buddies.
What a sweetheart!
But but it's true. You know, like anything, needing to evolve and change as long as the right pieces are put into that puzzle. The fans have totally stayed along for the ride. Like, me joining the Bullet Club, it's been a week, and I have gotten more attention for anything I've ever done.
We're kind of like the Tim Duncan, Parker and Ginobili Spurs type of to the Bullet Club. Like, you put those pieces on that team, and you're always going to win a championship.
Yeah. When did you?
That was good.
The Spurs, though, it's like the most boring team.
Yeah, but they've won 5 times.
Consistent.
Right.
Can I get a broken hand too sweet in here?
Yeah, right there. Anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off with that.
When did you guys specifically? Because the vibe of maybe it was after TNA. I don't know when it was exactly that you guys decided. Not only are we okay not being on one of the TV brands, I mean Ring of Honor, but you know what I'm saying. Not only we're actually going to embrace that, and we're going to do things to like incite them. We're going to poke at them. We're going to call attention to the fact that we're not on your show, and we're doing just as well without it, if not better.
You know, I think it almost took. Thanks. I think it almost took going to TNA and I guess failing. I get that's the best way to say it. People go, "Oh, you didn't really fail." Well, yeah, we did. Like we didn't make money there. Like if you're a pro wrestler, the whole point of this is to get over to make money. We didn't get over, we didn't make money, so we failed. So I think having to go there and fail and kind of collect ourselves and go, well, what do we got to do now? Like, why do we have to listen to the things that they like and things that they want? Let's do the things we like. Let's be ourselves. And it took having to like almost hit that wrestling rock bottom to finally go, screw this. Let's just have fun and be ourselves. And then once we started doing that, we started hearing certain reactions. We go, wait a minute. They like that. Yeah. Let's do more of that. The thing that they like.
Right.
And we kept doing it, and we kept doing it, we kept doing it, and then we realized we were growing a fan base out of nowhere, like almost a cult following.
Right.
And because I think it almost became a movement. Like,
but like we grew that following by failing because we failed at TNA. Ring of Honor fired us. Yes. Nothing. WWE didn't want us because of that whole thing we had with Booker T. So like we started getting
because he got upset that he didn't shake hands. And so they were like, well, they're not good for us.
Well, I don't know if it necessarily like. That isn't a proven thing, that was the reason why we never got hired there, but I definitely think it didn't help us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But it took all of that to finally get to where we are.
Yes. It took failing. Yeah. And finally, I think going to New Japan and being in the Bullet Club, like we were talking about this earlier, like we found ourselves. We found our personality. Mm-hmm. We were around guys like Carl Anderson we've known for 10 years. Yeah. Got friends. So like we're traveling with these guys, we're hanging out with these guys on the bus, we're going to these parties with these guys. So it's like now it's almost overflowing into the ring. Yeah. And we started saying, man, this is fun. Let's have fun out here. These guys are bringing out the fun side in us.
Just going off exactly what you're saying, there's something to be said about being in like a high-pressure situation like New Japan or Ring of Honor and being surrounded by your buddies, so you're less afraid to try new things.
You're right.
Because you're so comfortable and you're around the people that you trust, and if it fails, you failed together, but if it succeeds, you celebrate together.
Right.
I think that helps a ton.
It's strength in numbers, and you have your buddies there, and you're kind of like, hey, let's up each other on this. I'm going to do a funny thing out there, and then you're going to try to do something even funnier, or something cool, something cooler. You know, like we all like you said, we all celebrate together when it goes right.
And I guess if there's a group of you guys, like there's 3 here, you all respect each other. Like, well, he's cool and he's cool. So if he likes it, then that probably means more than like a bunch of people saying, well, you know, they're making a mockery of wrestling or something. Well, no, because if I'm getting pops out of them and pops out of them, then it's probably okay.
And we like to bounce ideas off of each other. Right. And we don't say, no, that sucks. No, that sucks. We fill it. And like it's good to do that when you have friends because you can just bounce off anything and not be negative about it.
And I think that's the difference. Everyone likes to say, oh, the Bullet Club's kind of like the NWO. And like in ways, of course we are. We throw up the 2-Sweet, really. Like, but that's kind of it. Like, you always knew
spray paint
was one thing that was my idea, so I'll take credit for that. Like in the NWO, it was always, Hollywood Hogan is the leader, right?
Right.
In Bullet Club, like
who is the leader?
Right?
Yeah.
We're all in this together, and we all want to be awesome together. Like even AJ Styles, he'd get pissed when people were like, "Hey, you're the leader of Bullet Club." He goes, "No, I'm not. We're all the leader. Like I don't call the shots here. Like one day Matt might have an idea, or maybe Nick might have an idea, or Gallows, or anybody.
It was just a goal. Like when we first got together, we said, hey, let's take over wrestling. We didn't know what that meant, but we said, hey, let's make this as big as possible. We don't know how long it's going to last, but let's try to make wrestling different and fun and better. And
yeah, because I feel like the vibe is, it's a very, maybe it's what the NWO would be if the NWO was around now, because it's not like you guys are sitting there going like, we're not going to call it Ring of Honor, we're going to call it the Bullet Club. Like you're not trying to do NWO Nitro, but you are trying to be like, throughout the wrestling industry.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
We're the ones you're talking about.
Yes.
And, it's interesting you said that about the Booker T thing and how that was kind of a pretty important part of the story of you guys, because it seems like after that and when you got your confidence back and when you embraced what you were doing, you said, okay, well, if we're going to be the kids that have this attitude and don't respect the veterans, like wait till you see what we do in front of a crowd. Like we're going to take that thing that you have, the reason you don't like us, and play it to 100.
I think it all clicked for me like the day Booker, like it all started like buried us on Twitter. And I'd never had so much talk about us ever in our careers. Everyone was talking about it. And I realized, wait a minute, more people are like saying our names than ever because of this.
Right.
And I told Nick, I'm like, we got to like cash in on this. How could we not?
Right.
And like the first sign of us turning this new over this new leaf and like kind of having this attitude was like we came to a show and everyone started chanting Booker T at us. So naturally, Nick did a spinneroonie in the middle of the ring, and it got
Which again is that thing that you don't plan out before
Right.
you go out there.
And
You
it
just
That
like,
was on the fly.
and it takes having to happen in a place like New York City because that's where it was. I think it was at the Hammerstein, and it got the reaction that we wanted, and that was I think when it clicked. We were like, oh, okay.
You were in that match, actually. It was that three-way tag match.
Yep, I remember it. And even more so, kind of going off what Matt started talking about with the Booker T thing, then, I mean, that's when your guys' Twitter changed and everything, right? That's when the whole social media presence
Personality
changed.
changed, yep.
And all these people start following the Young Bucks because they want to see what they're going to say next.
Right.
So
It gave us an identity, a gimmick, you know. And
Right.
before that, we were two fringe-wearing tag team wrestling brothers.
Yeah.
And then that happened, and we found ourselves because of it. So I owe it to Booker T.
And to this day, I swear to God, I get it at least twice a day on Twitters. Oh, those guys, they disrespect the veterans.
They don't shake hands.
It's unbelievable.
And now we've kind of become the veterans, you know what I mean?
And we're cool with Booker T. So it's like, come on, the story's over with. It's old.
Yeah. Well, why do you think it is? Like, it's been weird to me that now, especially since your buddies are going over there, and like every other tweet that Ferg puts out is a Young Bucks tweet. It seems like the sort of vibe of a potential Young Bucks showing up at an NXT show is just kind of always there, but it just doesn't happen. Like, why do you think that they're not just biting the bullet?
I don't know, man.
No
Like,
pun intended.
Well, for one thing, we haven't really exactly been available, especially because we're under a guarantee contract with Ring of Honor right now, and we're with New Japan too. So like right now we're unavailable.
Yeah.
Right.
But I understand. Like there's always been that talk. Like, well, why don't they just make them an offer? And to tell you the truth, we've never actually had a real offer on the table. So
Yeah, there was never money on the table like where we could say, okay, we'll be making this.
I can't answer that question because I don't know. I don't know.
And we were available 7 months ago, but
Just no offer was made.
no money offer. There was
chatter, but never a real offer.
Right.
But I mean, anything could change, man. Right now in wrestling, this is the most unpredictable time ever. By far in our careers. So I would never sit here and say we'll never be there. I'd be lying. I can't say that. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But right now, we're having the most fun we've ever had in our careers. With
Right.
what we're doing right now, so it's like it's hard to say.
And it's almost like, would you want to not? Because you probably wouldn't be having that much fun, realistically. You'd be accomplishing this goal and wrestling in front of more people and on TV, but you wouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
for
maybe
sure.
not. Maybe not.
Yeah. Now, Adam, when did you know you were going to do what you did at the pay-per-view, join the Bullet Club?
I mean, everything really came together probably maybe a month before everything happened.
So when you see Styles and Gallows and Anderson are on TV, and they're literally called The Club on Raw, and you know what it's a reference to, are you going like, oh no, they're going to take this, or are you going like, yes, this is going to be even bigger?
Exactly, definitely the second. I was like, this is going to be huge. The fact that they're acknowledging the Bullet Club's presence, which just, again, confirms how much of a huge impact the entire group has made.
Like, I don't think this has ever happened outside of a WCW or ECW angle with WWE bringing something outside of the company or those companies
Not in modern time.
and bringing that storyline to the forefront of their Monday Night Raw show. Like, it's crazy.
And on top of that, the coolest thing, talking about the unpredictability, like me being away from Ring of Honor for a little while and just randomly tweeting pictures with no caption of Ferg, and then of AJ Styles, and then of me and the Bucks and Kevin Owens. I was all tweeting just Bullet Club members, but people immediately
No one knew
thought,
that.
he's going, he's leaving. So it just
Kevin
created
Owens might as
cool-
well be a Bullet Club
Exactly.
member.
I was just going to say, I had to include him.
He definitely would have been a member if he didn't
Or
go.
if he didn't sign, he would have definitely
And
been
I
a
had
member.
to, because I was going to say that, come on, guys. I was just tweeting all pictures of Bullet Club members, and Kevin's just my buddy. So
It's just funny the way social media works, because literally I had a conversation with somebody who works there that I'm like, I don't know, I think I could see Adam Cole joining the Bullet Club, and they're like, yeah, but I think he's coming over. I think he's going to be at NXT because of the
crazy,
social
yeah.
media.
the unpredictability of pro wrestling right
Yeah,
now.
right
No
now,
one
for
really.
sure.
No, people think they know, but they don't really know. And I think more people are checking stuff online more than ever because so many of their favorites who, being honest, 15 years ago probably would have never been there.
Right.
But now the entire landscape of pro wrestling has changed, and it's awesome. Every company is just...
Especially because guys are coming over now and they're keeping their names and they're on these like weird deals.
That was
where it's
unheard
not-
of, man. Like 2 years ago, that didn't happen.
Yeah. It's also, I feel like this thing that you guys are doing is funny because the freedom that it allows to like you guys with Kenny Omega can like start a Twitter war with the New Day and make New Day T-shirts and like start this feud that really the New Day can kind of answer. They can kind of like do stuff on.
That's what's cool though about it. It's like fantasy booking, you know. Like
Yeah.
the fans, man, we get that comment a lot, right? Where when is the match going to happen? When is it going to happen? It's kind of fantasy booking, but you know what's funny is both parties want to do it.
Yes.
Right.
And we're actually trying to make it happen.
Right, and when you're
and the
pushing
chances might be absolutely zero, but we all of us are on board.
And when the guys themselves are the ones pushing it out on their social media, it becomes this thing where the people organizing it almost have no choice.
That's what we're hoping. It gets to the point where they're just like, just let them do a freaking match.
Imagine that. Why can't we do that one match at NXT and then do it over here at ROH? Yeah, I think it would be amazing.
Yeah,
why not?
It would be cool for both companies. Why can't we all work together?
If ever it would happen, it would be like a time like now, though. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's all work together, guys. It makes pro wrestling funner.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's the message from the Bucks. Everybody needs to work
Or is it more
together in
fun?
unity.
Or is it funner?
More fun, probably.
More fun, or it could be funner, but it can't be more funner.
More funner.
More funner. It's way more funner that way. So do you ever worry about, like, how stuff is going to be perceived later? Like, you guys have done a lot of intergender stuff in PWG.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Right, and so when there's a video of like a thumbtack super
know.
kick to a woman's face, it's like, as a wrestling fan, I know who Candace. I'm like, this is awesome. This is perfect, and like,
What's
this-
our daughter's going to think in 18 years is the exact thing I told Matt before
Really?
we did it. I said, let's not do it because I don't want my daughter YouTubing our names and seeing a bloody face on the first link, and she's clicking it and saying, Daddy, why the heck
and
did
it's
you
just,
do
like,
that?
Blonde girl next door.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah.
I told Matt, I said that conversation's definitely going to happen.
But then I go and say, well, we have reached the level of, I don't know, like notoriety, fame, or whatever you want to call it, if we didn't do things like that. It's like people expect us to do that.
Right.
Almost. Like if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be us. And like it's like a taboo thing. Like you don't hit girls, let alone you don't hit a girl with a loaded wrestling boot that has tacks super glued on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And honestly,
You probably shouldn't hit anybody with it.
you probably shouldn't hit anybody, let alone some little 100-pound blonde
Right.
blonde girl.
But you know what? I'll say this: it launched her career. That's probably the number one match that people talk about,
And Joey's.
and ours
Joey
too,
Rice.
though.
Yeah, it put us.
gave us-
It put us on the map almost again. It was like this is the new thing that the Bucks just did. This is awesome. It was the most talked about thing for us for a year, maybe.
Right.
It's like, but it's things like that. It's like super kicking the kid.
Right.
It's stuff like that.
Which I was going to ask you. How do you teach? Because he was what, 7?
He was like 8.
Yeah.
How do you teach an 8-year-old how to properly
We-
sell a super kick?
We didn't really teach. We did go over it beforehand, but that kid would practice with all the wrestlers because he was the announcer's dad, or the announcer's kid, and he would get in the ring beforehand and wrestle
some
around
bumps.
pretty much. And Matt noticed that, and of course Matt's like, "Hey, we could take advantage of this." And I was the one saying, "No, we can't do that. That's child abuse." And Matt goes, "That's why it's great." You know what I mean?
Which I think.
Exactly
Yeah.
like that, but
I've argued that that's a thing that's like I feel like lost in wrestling. That the bad guys, and technically, Young Bucks are supposed to be bad
I
guys.
think we were baby faces that night.
But wrestling is you're supposed to be doing stuff that is totally wrong. Like no, you can't do that.
And that's why he loves doing that type of stuff. And I'm still on the fence, I guess, because I don't know. Maybe I'm just too nice.
Anything that's going to get the people to talk. I don't care if they're burying me. If they're talking about me, great.
He goes, "Do you want a clip that'll go viral today?" And I said, "I guess." He's all, "Well, we got to super kick the kid then."
I said, we have no choice. We've got to kick the kid.
And that's what you want to do. You want to reach out to the masses. Like Cornette gets pissed because we're exposing the business, but actually,
the guy who has a podcast that talks about all of the insights and outs of
but
pro
the thing is, no, we're not. We're putting more eyeballs on the business because we're doing things like that while you're sitting on your stupid podcast that no one listens to.
I didn't know it was going to turn into this.
But it's true. It's true. It's true. Am I right, Adam? Because Adam knows it. The whole internet knows it. It's just true. Like, come on.
Touching base though on what the Bucks were talking about with
Moving away from your question
Deflecting Jim Cornette talk.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I was gonna comment more on what the Bucks were talking about with super kicking the kid and super kicking girls and stuff.
Something that's a little more safe territory than Jim Cornette. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I understand society's perception of it being a sensitive topic. I
sure.
do.
Yeah, I agree.
And even me, the Bucks know this. I try to be aware of doing things that could be perceived as a major negative.
Yeah, for sure.
However, in a perfect world, the greatest thing I love about pro wrestling is that really you can do anything. I love that you can tell any story you want, do so many different things to get heat, and exactly what they said, so many clips that people would watch that, and there's no sport or form of entertainment in the world that can do something like that other than pro wrestling, and I love that.
Good point.
There's nothing that someone could say or do to me that I would say, oh, that's crossed the line. I understand where other people are coming from, but I love when the line is crossed.
Yeah.
That's some of my favorite moments when I was a kid.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's pretty much we're playing a character. We're actors essentially. Like we say this all the time. Like that. Oh man, I'm not going to see that movie because that guy did something stupid in the movie that's controversial. Why? It's
the bad guy. He's trying to get heat.
Right.
What are you talking about?
we're doing the same thing.
It's just we're a live action film that only gets one shot, and sometimes people, it's almost like they fall into this world where they think it's real.
That's what it is, because I think
They
it's
want to feel that
you
it's
don't see
real.
people going to see Bruce Willis movies and being like, great documentary. I just can't believe that he did that.
Right.
People don't. That's the
And we blur the lines though because we are characters, and if anybody blurs the lines, it's us. Because like we mentioned on Twitter, we're saying these things, and sometimes I'm like, wait, who said that? Was that real me or was that Matt Jackson character guy?
Right.
I don't know. And sometimes I'm even doing these interviews, and I'm going, am I in character a little bit right now?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like the characters have the same names too.
Yes.
It's like you.
So it blurs the lines. So we're blurring the line, and I'm like, we're not really doing ourselves any favors because we're going, no, that part of it was fake, but this part's real. So then
It's us
where is
times
the
10.
line?
Right.
But
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Though.
But
I like when the lines.
but
are
in
blurred.
real life though, we would never super kick a kid.
You wouldn't. That's on the record.
Never, never.
Well, this guy,
There he is in character again.
I talked to you, I think the last time we spoke about trying to be a bad guy and how difficult it is for someone like you to get boos when you want them.
And these guys just made it 10 times harder for me.
That's what I was gonna say. That
That's true. I'm sorry again, Adam.
because you spoiling Colt Cabana's big return and world title match and blah 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 is supposed to be the most evil thing and treacherous thing you could do in Ring of Honor, but now I feel like Adam Cole being associated with the Bucks now officially in Bullet Club, and this thing that was cool before has now come to Ring of Honor and it's cool. Are you thinking of things that you can now do to still be hated, or?
Well, I think the cool thing about wrestling in general right now, and you can even see this at the top with WWE and Roman and AJ.
Yeah.
Even though AJ is like a bad guy now, right? He's supposed to be.
I guess.
But no one's really sure. There's
Right.
this blurred line, and I think Shades of Grey is kind of where pro wrestling is headed, and I think that's a positive. I think it's cool that two guys can come out, like the Bullet Club and Jay Lethal and Roderick Strong, or the New Japan guys, and people go, man, I love all these guys. I'm just going to go crazy. Because in turn, I think that creates an awesome environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously what we do, like the other guys too, we're doing things to try to get attention, to garner interest in not only ourselves but Ring of Honor. And if the main event guys come out and everyone's going wild, it's a lot better than everyone sitting on their hands.
Yeah. Do you think Jim Cornette is just saying some of this stuff the same reason why you guys say things just to stir some shit up? Like he's just trying to get a rise out of you?
Yeah, and I think he knows when he mentions us, his Twitter probably blows up.
Right.
And he's like, oh, wait a minute, this is cool. And I think he believes what he believes, and I think he doesn't like us. But I think the way he comes across on his podcast and the way he tweets and stuff, he knows he's doing it with a purpose. He's in character. He's trying to get a reaction out of people, and I get it. I totally get it. It's like you said, it's just like how we act.
Right.
Some of the stuff I think he does cross the line, when he's I don't like whenever he involves things I think we did a spot one time and he said that we should be hung in Times Square, or he said Kenny Omega should he should cut his throat, or someone should slit his throat or something. It's okay, dude, come on,
relax.
Relax, man. You're on a podcast right now. It's one thing to say it in the ring during a promo trying to get heat from an audience, but people are going to take it the wrong way when you're talking about people getting killed on your podcast.
And he gets a reaction out of us, so what he's doing is working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
because look at we're talking about him right now.
But it also works for you because then people like that you're stirring it up. So it's
But it creates a conversation. It's like here's a Young Bucks supporter, here's a Jim Cornette supporter, and the two talk. And like I said, as long as people are talking, then you're fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
It creates. I think we have so many defenders and so many fans now that love us and say we're the best, but there's so many people that hate us and can't stand us.
Yeah.
I think it's great to have that. I think you have to have like an alienated crowd. It's great to be polarizing because it creates conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just exactly. And that's even going back on the whole good guy, bad guy thing. Totally. Just the more polarizing characters that we can create here, I think the better. If everyone wants to buy Jay Lethal T-shirts and Bullet Club T-shirts and people just adore everybody, that's just... I think it's an awesome... Like, my favorite matches as a kid, like The Rock and Stone Cold, everyone loved both Rock and Austin, you know? So if people love Bullet Club and the, Team ROH guys, I think it's cool. And it's different. It's something different for the company.
And when people did love Rock and Austin, but you still were able to pick sides, right? Like it wasn't just like we're just cheering because it's a match. Like it still meant something.
Every character is more interesting because none of us in real life, none of us is like the good guy. I wear white. I wear the white hat. I'm the good guy. That's the bad guy with the black hat.
Right.
Like good people make bad decisions and believe things that are truly good, but they're actually bad. And the opposite, like it's just the way we are as human beings. Nobody's good, nobody's bad. Just cut down the middle. You know what I mean?
Totally agree with you because as far as the realism now in 2016, like I hate this if say a bad guy in wrestling tweets a picture of how much he loves his family, and then people respond with, "What? I thought you were supposed to be a bad guy." If you're a bad guy, that doesn't mean that you hate everybody.
You still have a dog at home that you love and you pet, even if you're
I bet you Kevin gets that a lot.
Yeah, he's actually who I was talking about. Yeah. So
but it's interesting though because I feel like Kevin is the one guy. And this is how I've described his character to people. He was actually able to figure out a way to translate, I love my family and it makes me a bad guy. Yeah. Which is amazing. And it's like, there are new stories to tell in wrestling. I can't believe it. So, Matt, is your hand broken?
It's officially undiagnosed, but I'm going to the doctor's tomorrow.
It is broken?
We're pretty tough.
And
my ribs are broken.
Your ribs are broken.
You'll probably see me favoring it all interview, but they're definitely broken.
Secretary's back for more. Podcast, man, no problem.
Hey, man, very famous. Yeah. Hey, man.
He's impressed.
Come on, man.
We all start talking like Secretary as soon as he comes around. Yeah, I don't know. It might be broken.
Mine's for sure broken.
I'm going to the doctor's tomorrow for an X-ray. I had Michael Elgin land on it. Literally, the story is it was in Toronto.
Yeah. It's pretty funny, actually.
We're wrestling Michael Elgin.
Now looking back, but
it's me, Nick, and Kenny the Elite versus Yoshitatsu, Michael Elgin, and Tanahashi. And I do a spot where I get superplex from the outside of the apron into the ring, like into a Falcon Arrow, and my hand landed sideways on the mat, and Mike came down right on my hand, and it just crushed my hand. It was just a freak thing, right?
30 seconds later, I get powerbombed to the floor, and Kenny catches me, and he's so strong that I landed right on his shoulder, my rib cage area. As soon as I landed,
his shoulder broke your rib?
Yeah.
So we always take inventory of our bodies and injuries or whatever after the match, post-match. Whenever the match is over, we're talking to each other in the ring.
Yeah.
So we go over. Kenny gets to the pen. Nick and I slide into the ring, kind of selling our injuries. And Nick goes, "Matt, are you all right?" I go, "No, I think I broke my hand." I go, "Are you all right?" He goes, "No, I think I broke my rib." We're like, "What?" It was literally like 30 seconds.
It hurts to laugh, but it's so true.
And I had to go wrestle again later on that night. I just taped it heavily. I didn't know I really broke it.
Right.
I just taped it pretty good, and then he had to totally sit the match
And
out.
what sucks is it's the same hand he broke about 2 years ago, too.
So I got to get an X-ray tomorrow. And I'm almost positive you're going to be seeing me post Twitter pictures of me in a cast in a few days. Hopefully not, but we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah. So how much TV is in the can for Ring of Honor?
The next month, so it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks, brother.
Because I'll be laying down the next 4 weeks at least.
And then what's the New Japan schedule?
This is
gonna
what's
have to
crazy.
skip?
We were supposed to be leaving in 3 days for a 3-week tour.
That's the Super Juniors tournament. So
Right.
that is maybe not.
Doesn't
not
look
gonna
like
happen.
because I literally can't do anything. Like I'm having trouble going upstairs. So it's like there's no way I can wrestle.
Don't you just have to sit on a like I don't mean literally, but don't you just have to wait for a broken rib to heal?
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. So I just ice it like crazy, and that's it.
It's funny listening to you guys, and you just got it over an injury. We were talking about it 6 months ago.
Yeah,
the injury that you got over.
And knock on wood. Yeah. I feel great. So.
He's the only
not hurting right now.
But it's interesting that you guys are like broken rib, broken hand, and there's no sort of like that thing where. I don't know if I want to get back in the ring because I'm gonna break my hand again. I'm like you literally just broke your hand.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back in the ring.
Well, he's wrestling tonight. That's what.
I'm just gonna tape it up. It's one of those things like. If I was in a cast, I think I could even work with the cast. I did it last time, and I was okay. But it's one thing to do singles matches, and it's one thing to be in like a multi-man, 8-man, 6-man. I can get away with it. Singles matches on a tournament like a Best of Super Junior, I want to go out there and give it my all and have the best matches of the night every night. And if I've got one hand where it only exposes my thumb possibly, maybe these two fingers, like I don't know if I can do it. So that's something that we have to talk about.
Yeah, and also, too, which a lot of people don't talk about is, and I know you guys can relate to this, but when you get hurt and then decide, I'm going to keep fighting through it, that's when really bad stuff starts to happen. Because I think I had told you when I got into surgery, I had a fracture in my elbow and a tear in my tricep for like a year before my shoulder went. And it's just definitely because I was favoring this arm, thinking, no, I'll be fine. And then my whole arm started to go. So when I was out for 4 months, I got 3 surgeries done.
Yeah, adds up.
It's so I'm happy for them that they're resting up, and they have to. They have to.
But there's nothing in you, Nick, that goes like I know exactly what the moment was that did this.
Oh yeah.
Like you're not gonna sit there and be like, I'm not taking that powerbomb over the top rope again.
Well,
Maybe not.
I don't know. I'm nuts. I might take it
Last
again.
time I broke my hand, I broke it in 2 places, and it was on a back handspring.
Yeah.
And I was really weird about back handsprings for like a year.
Yeah,
And I finally
but
got
now
it
you
over.
do it all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like I think my case was just a freak accident. I don't know how it happened. I think I might have turned into it or something, but my case is definitely a freak accident.
Dude, injuries is just part of the whole pro wrestling thing now, and it's like, and honestly, it's the only time we get a break. And we've been going nuts
I
for a
have
while.
for the 13 years that I've actively been wrestling, I've never missed a show because of an injury. So it took some time.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And I've only missed a few because I went on tour with a cast when I broke my hand. That's really my only major injury.
And the last, would you say, 5 years, it's been nonstop, close to WWE like schedule. So I think I need a little bit of a break.
For us
No pun intended.
For us, like we never, like he's talking about how we never get hurt. For us to get hurt in the same match, seconds apart, it's crazy.
That's like the universe just telling you, like, just
That's-
you got your big moment.
Exactly.
Now chill for a
Take
minute.
a break because we've been going insane. We've had our parents on this entire loop with us. They're like, I don't know how you guys do this, let alone wrestle. They're in the hotel room sleeping right now because they're so exhausted.
How happy was your dad, by the way, to be able to take that super?
That made
kick?
his
Like,
life.
I mean, at that point, are you guys doing a show for the audience, or are you just like, let's just do it because it's cool? Like,
both.
we're gonna enjoy this.
We told Adam this is why we did it. We bounced the ideas off Adam. We said, hey, we should probably super kick our dad. He's all,
We should probably
you
do
have
this."
to do that. You have to do that.
Exactly what I said. My eyes got big and everything. Oh, we have to do it.
So we had to, and you know what my mom said? She said that was the most nervous she's ever seen my dad, and they've been married for close to 40 years.
I wanted to give my mom a Meltzer driver on Mother's Day because it was Mother's Day that night.
But she's got a bad neck, so there's no chance we're going to risk
like,
that.
all right, let's relax a little with my mom. Poor mom.
How crazy would have that been? Triple super kicking my dad. She comes running out. We pick her up and we Meltzer driver her.
And by the way, that's when you know that everything's changed in wrestling. When not only do we see you guys in WWE, but they're letting you still call it the Meltzer driver. Like that's
That's a stretch. We'll see.
Did you ever? I'm curious about this with you guys. Like, did you ever go through a period? Because obviously now you created your identity, but in the beginning, it was like sort of the Rockers, the Hardy Boys. They look like blonde, brunette. Like the outfits are all similar. Like, did you ever maybe after TNA when you were trying to figure it out? Did you ever sit there and be like, we have to change everything? Like we got to change our looks.
I don't think so. Just that moment I talked about earlier when we were just like. We weren't making any money, first of all, so we were like, well, maybe we should change something. And I think we went through a period where we maybe changed our look a little bit. It just didn't work. Like, we had different pants and stuff.
And TNA, we first wore, like, tight jean pants.
And I'm even talking about post-TNA when we were like, we went to, like, the baggy pants. And everyone's like, where's the freaking fringe and the tassels?
Like, it kind of fit us,
Yeah. I think
it was the personality that changed.
That and the super kick party.
Right.
Because everyone was like, don't do super kicks. And then one day Nick and I were like, oh, we were told not to do any super kicks tonight. Let's do 20. And then we did 20, and the place went nuts.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's just keep doing that. I think people like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we branded it as the super kick party. It's what we tweeted about. It's what we talked about in promos. Like, it was just super kick party.
Right.
And the same people who were telling us not to do the super kick were tweeting, the super kick party is coming to our town on this day. And we're
Right.
like, that's when we knew, oh, we got this thing over.
Yeah.
I felt like too, though, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Initially, when you start off kind of as a good guy, but you're not really sure how to do it. Sure. You just kind of go do your match. I feel like I learned so much from being a bad guy that now the whole perception of how to be a good guy is totally different because I experienced the other end of it. Where initially you're just going out and doing a match. And just like
you found yourself when you were the PWG champ.
100%. Yeah.
The Rushmore stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Working with these guys and then working in front of that crowd and just really like kind of just letting loose, kind of like these guys did. I had no restrictions.
Yep.
I got to try anything I wanted. I knew I could try anything I wanted. So
And it takes a promoter sometimes.
Yeah.
Super Dragon pulled the trigger on you, and it worked. And then Ring of Honor saw it, and they're like, "Hey, let's do the same exact thing."
And
And
it gives you the confidence when Dragon's like, "You're the guy now." You go, "I am the guy now,"
and that's so huge. People don't like when you're working underneath until you get that spot, which by the way you never feel ready for. You just get it, and then you either sink or swim. And then when you do succeed, it's all that confidence in the world to be thrown into a main event at Ring of Honor or a main event at New Japan and be able to know you can deliver.
I think that the Bullet Club, I've always felt like, because there are obviously similarities to NWO, but I've always felt like it was almost in tribute because I feel like all the guys that are of the age that would be in the Bullet Club are my age, and we all it's what we grew up watching.
Exactly.
And so it's almost like you're paying tribute, and half of it is we're going to be bad guys, but the other half of it is we're going to acknowledge to you that get it that we're wrestling fans getting to play out what we always wanted to do. We're the creative superstars.
You're not wrong about
in
that.
the video games.
Right, you're not wrong at all.
Do you have to sit there though when you're figuring out like what's the next move that we're going to do to be like, okay, this is crossing over the line to we're just copying.
Sure,
Like,
because
are there
I
ideas
think we
that
kind
go
of started almost like, oh, these guys are just kind of like a tribute band, and then we became our own entity and our own thing.
Yeah, when we got all the titles in New Japan and we pretty much ran Japan wrestling, that's when it felt like, okay, now we could start doing stuff on our own.
Right.
And a lot of stuff we do, like we feel like everyone goes, oh, those guys are unoriginal. What? Because we do this and we do this? Right. Watch the rest of our act. Are you kidding me? You're going to tell me there's not one original thing you see?
Yeah, I don't remember Scott Hall and Kevin Nash doing more bang for your buck. It's like so silly. Come on, like don't that. It's so old, but it's true. Like they compare it to that.
Like
type
we
of stuff.
found ourselves, our own act, and again, the super kick is Shawn Michaels' finish. Yeah. We don't work for the WWE. What are you talking about? We're not using anybody's finish. It's a super kick party. We're gonna do as many times as we want.
It's just a fun move to do and watch.
Exactly. And you know what's cool though is all those guys the two that I just talked about, Hall and Nash, they approve of it all. They love it.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I was just gonna say they love it.
Yeah, and they say, "Hey, thanks for doing it because it keeps our name out there."
Right.
And they know also that they're taking maybe that thing that they did at one point, but completely making it their own thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The Young Bucks act is much different, like you guys were saying, than Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's act.
Yeah.
Which is why it's also great to see like Ferg holding the NXT title next to Triple H too sweet. It's like
great.
It's funny though because now the new era of fans are so young now that they think. Some people think we created the crotch chop. We created the too sweet. And that's what makes me laugh. Like, no, I got to stop you there, okay?
I know for a fact that, what would you say, 75% of the Japanese audience thinks we made up Sucky, because they call it that, Sucky. We knew it was starting to get over when we start walking the streets and we see kids pointing out and say, Sucky, Sucky. And we're like, oh my goodness, what are we doing?
A couple of tweets from young fans, and it's like a picture of Scott Hall doing it too sweet. And they'll tag me, like, oh, cool, Scott Hall's doing a Bullet Club tribute thing. And I look and it's like a 12-year-old kid. I'm like, oh, this kid has no idea.
Yeah. So if you, Adam, when are you going to New Japan as a Bullet Club member for the first time?
As of now, it's looking like a late summer projection for me to head over there. So, which I think is even better because initially, I know I want to get over as soon as possible, but kind of letting this Bullet Club change digest here in Ring of Honor before getting to go over for New Japan and really establish it there with the New Japan audience getting to see me as a Bullet Club member here in the States. And for me, more importantly, as a main event act here in the States, I think will help when I do go over in late summer. So.
And what's cool about it is we're going to be on the majority of the Ring of Honor shows in North America anyway, along with him and along with Adam Page, who just joined us too.
Yes.
So it's kind of like we got an American Bullet Club and we have a Japanese Bullet Club, but we'll combine them all every once in a while too.
And by the way, like it was probably, when did we have Carl Anderson, Jess? Do you remember? Was it a year ago? Was it more? It was like a year and a half ago. Carl Anderson was on the podcast, and I was asking him, like, well, will the Bullet Club be able to continue without Ferg? And he was like, honestly, I don't even think we've started the amount that we can do. Mm-hmm. And, like, now he's not even here to see,
that's what's crazy,
what's
man.
happening.
Like, we pretty much lived with him the last 2.5 years, would you say? And now doing tours over there without him and Doc, Gallows, and AJ, it's so strange.
Well, it's in the world of professional wrestling, when one guy leaves, two guys leave, three new guys come and they take the spot, and it's like Bullet Club's almost become larger than anything. It's like it's its own legacy now. It's like its own franchise.
That logo hit pop culture, which is crazy. We've heard that it's the #1 selling T-shirt of all time for New Japan, which is unbelievable.
The NWO, which was also huge in New Japan, they had their own kind of extension of the NWO back in the 90s, maybe 2000, whenever it was, 2000. I don't know.
That shows you it's still selling like crazy. And what we just did on pay-per-view a couple weeks ago, or not, man, that feels like a couple weeks ago. That was 5 days ago. Or
We gotta get home.
Yeah, I wanted to make my own Bullet Club parody T-shirt, but Sam's Club is
it's taken, right?
Couldn't do
You'd
it.
get sued for that one.
Well, Bullet Club, Young Bucks, Adam Cole, thanks for hanging out, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us. Yep.
Yeah, man.
Too sweet me.
Hey, it's Sam Roberts. I hope you enjoyed that wrestling interview from Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. You can go to notsam.com to subscribe to that podcast, but I upload videos like that on this YouTube channel all the time. So if you don't already subscribe now. It's on the side of the page. I made it real easy. Click the button. Subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the page.